No country is perfect, but there are some things in each country which are perfect. For Japan, we can say such thing for roads in Japan. In today's video, we will see 5 such things related to Japanese roads which make them special. So let's get right into it. In this video, we will cover 5 points. First point would be what Japanese roads are not. Second, footpaths. Third, zebra crossing. Fourth, normal city roads. Fifth, expressways and facilities. So let's begin with the first one. So there are different ways one can understand roads in Japan. To begin with, let's understand what Japan roads are not. Two things can be clearly said about Japanese roads. First one, Japan roads are not super wide like what one sees in the US, or they are not meant for super speeds like Autobahn in Germany. What makes Japanese roads special is that the roads are fully functional and practical, and you can expect uniform roads across Japan. Fully functional means that the Japanese roads are constructed by fully understanding the needs of its citizens and demographics. Second one is footpath. Since Japan's majority of the people commute through trains, most of the people walk or use cycles till the station. Kids go to school via these footpaths, and kindergarten children are also carried in buggies through these lanes. Young and elderly alike take a walk or jog on this footpath. So even before talking about the main roads where the vehicles run, these footpaths serve a big role for pedestrians and cyclists from home to the station. Mostly walking, cycling lane are fully functional. The footpaths can be narrow lane like this to a very broad like a width of road like this. The edges of the footpath and the roads are seamless, well thought to keep them practically usable by pedestrians, cyclists, strollers, and special vehicles, wheelchairs used by differently abled people. At most of the footpath, walking and cyclist lanes are marked too so that there is no confusion. If the footpaths are narrow, it's dedicated to walking only and for cyclists, and there is a dedicated portion of road where they are advised to bike. There is a dedicated lane for a person who requires visual assistance. These lanes might start from near the home till the station and are planned at all possible locations where they might need assistance. These footpaths are secured with heavy-duty fences in parallel to the road. In addition to this, space for nature is not forgotten between the footpath and the main roads. So as you see, footpath in itself is serving many roles. Next is zebra crossing. The zebra crossing signals needs to be specially mentioned because it's a stress-free crossing. First, the vehicle cannot cross the Lakshman Rekha, which is before the crossing, and most drivers follow it thoroughly. The main crossing have a very important thing in them. Guess what? Zebra stripes. Yeah, those are properly marked, which is very important too. For most of the signals, there is a button you can press to turn the signal to green and allow you to walk on it then. Also, when the signal turns from red to green or green to red, there are speakers on the signal which help the visually impaired person to judge the signal situation at that moment. There is a lag kept between the crossing signal turning red and vehicle traffic turning green for increased safety. The whole process of signal crossing without the fear of cars overrunning you can be an enjoyable experience. Kids, elders, and parents can cross the signals without being too much stressed on the ongoing traffic. Next is normal city roads. One thing you would quickly notice while looking at the road is that how much markings are there on the roads. I say it's a way of communicating rules to drivers on daily basis. It appears that when the road was being built, the regular maintenance was well thought, which keeps the authorities coming back to it and renovate the markings in regular intervals. The other thing you might notice is that there are no street vendors on the road. Of course, there are other dedicated streets and places where they can have their stall, but not everywhere. This makes a huge difference on the appearance and the usage of the road. Going back to the markings, these markings play a very big role in regulating the traffic. Yes, the drivers follow the rules, but the markings here are constant reminder of the rules and reduces the chances of non-compliance or breaking the rules by design itself. For example, if there is a proper marking, a vehicle will decide the left lane or right lane beforehand. Also, while taking turn, marking supports them to be in the same lane as much as possible. Not all zebra crossings have signals, but how do you convey drivers about slowing down? What you do is you mark a sign like this to avoid accidents. There are cyclist markings too, which tells them exactly where they should be for extra safety. The stop lines are welded before the central part of the crossing so that the traffic flow is smoother. Yes, the signal works flawlessly. There are no traffic police on every square. They are only at the places where the chances of breaking the signals are high. Not everywhere for sure. There are no automatic penalty system installed on each signals, contrary to what you might imagine. For narrower roads where buses have to take turn, the stop position is planned keeping the length of the bus so that it does not have difficulty in taking the turn. During the road repair, they try to do mostly in nights. If they have to do it in the day, the way the traffic is controlled is a sight to see. If the traffic has to be obstructed due to a roadside construction, it's mostly controlled by construction company. They systematically control this by having the person at both the ends and coordinating the traffic for one side and then on the other. So the whole design is to make the road safer and efficient. One more point worth noting is that there is almost no garbage on most of the roads. Of course, there are exceptions, but the roads can be said cleanest in the world. It is due to the people not throwing litter on the roads. Most of the vehicle have small dustbins in the car, or they carry it in a polythene till the destination or gasoline stand where they normally throw it. It is also due to very well planned garbage collection system which does not get spread on the road. The last point is expressways. The other category of the road is expressways where slow vehicles are not allowed. Mostly all expressways have automatic toll collection system called ETC, and they also have cash system too. ETC is made bit cheaper so that the adoption rate should become higher as we go ahead. It's a breeze using ETC on the expressways. The entry and the exits are well defined. The way these roads are designed is visually appealing too. The roads are of course crowded during the peak seasons, but in non-peak seasons, it's a beautiful drive. To assist driver to maintain the distance between two vehicles, there are distance markers of 100 meters. If there are construction work on the road, the indication is given much in advance so that there are no accidents due to that. The stoppages in between for food and restrooms are called service areas. They are well defined, guided by staff, and parking places is available for all sizes of vehicles. Priority parkings for passengers with special needs so that they park to the nearest places. Since electric vehicles are at a rise, there are EV charging stations too growing faster in Japan. The public toilets are kept super clean, and most service areas have information on road safety, maps of the local area, local food, and souvenirs to support the region economically. These souvenirs are called as omiyage. You will find it in every part of Japan. The garbage bins here are also a great piece of art. This was the brief introduction on Japanese roads, and in this video we saw those 5 points. First, what Japan roads are not. Second, footpaths. Third, zebra crossing. Fourth, normal roads. And fifth, expressways. Do let me know what part was most interesting for you, and also tell me what other topics you would like to hear in next videos. Thank you. And don't forget to subscribe the channel you are watching on.